Hi, welcome back. Guys, there is no sarcasm today. This time I am genuinely quite angry at Arknight's Endfield. Nobody is happy with Endfield right now. Usually my entire comment section is a glaze fest, as it should have been, but lately things have been way different and you can feel it. The energy around this game is at an all-time low despite us literally being 5 days into a new patch. And while this game isn't going to report mega low numbers or record low players, I can explain that later, it is extremely obvious that Endfield players, those who are there for the game, are fed up with waiting. Now, I just made a video defending Endfield from one angle, but I'm a complainer as much as I am a glazer. And this is something I've been complaining about before anyone else was. All this talk about jobs, me being unemployed, which isn't false, and having way too much time on my hand, which is false, and no one got the point that I was talking about, and that is there's nothing to look forward to in this game. Eventually, your characters are going to see use. Eventually, your factory will grow more. Eventually we get the story that we want. I have been planning a video that was going to be titled, Which Major Gacha Game Should You Play? And it wasn't going to be Tribalism Slop where I trashed on everything else in glazed Endfield, because I wanted to take the merits and flaws of every single game, put them out on the table, and show everybody what they would and wouldn't like, so we can have a huge video where every community can hopefully discuss, rather than compare trivial non-issues that fuel tribalism like f***ing dashing animations and model differences. But in the end, I realized that I genuinely cannot recommend Arknight's Endfield anymore. Why would anybody who has the choice to play Honkai Star Rail or Wuthering Waves try out Endfield instead? While Endfield is a more comfortable game to play because it encourages you to save, it doesn't have the RNG gear, and its endgame content is not timer slop, what's the point of all of this if the devs are going to barely give us anything to play? The only reason anybody is playing Endfield right now is because it's an Arknight's game. It's an Arknight's game standing on the shoulders of a giant while doing nothing else. If it wasn't an Arknight's game, nobody would be playing it right now. It all started off with Arknight's Endfield 1.2, where I made a video talking about how god-awful the patch being 49 days long is. The last 2 to 3 weeks of it were going to be nothing but a daily simulator, because everybody was going to finish the content very easily, and even though patch 1.3 looked exciting, I don't want to feel like I'm playing absolutely nothing for an insanely long time just to then play something that is insanely limited. After an insanely long 3 weeks of absolutely nothing, because everyone at the point had finished the story, finished the exploration, and finished their factories, we get 1.3. And that's great, right? 1.3 is going to have the most condensed amount of content so far. It's a 42-day patch with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 whole weeks, where every week we're going to get a new combat mode. So why am I, and even more so, why is the entire community complaining about this? Because after that insane 3-week content drought in 1.2, we have to wait another 2 weeks on top of that to reach the true bread and butter of patch 1.3, while we're held off by 2 hours of exploration, 1.5 hours in total of story, 15 minutes of which is a god-awful exploration quest on the level of a f***ing Genshin Impact Liyue Archaeology NPC story quest, which had insane potential but was instead just a vessel for a bunch of f***ing readable files. The world building is truly amazing in this game, but it is not a product of its own, and this quest specifically highlighted how you can have an incredible world but you cannot deliver it well. Even though there were great animations and great visuals, the substance this quest had was equivalent in quality to and as desirable as the super blight you clear up in the map. Now, after a week from the patch's launch day, the trial of Swordmancy is going to be a one-time event, then everything else you do in the arena is going to be the same repetitive shit over and over again, because it's just going to be a stock bill farming pedestal. While that isn't a bad thing and stock bill farming is great, it's going to get boring insanely quickly, because who the hell wants to do 3 battles for 240,000 stock bills every day? Everyone is going to set up 10 mortar towers then do nothing else. Look, I like the depot nodes and I like environmental monitoring because they're small little chore activities that take very little effort and reward you with quite a bit of stock bills, which is one of the game's central currencies to get a lot of shit done. But you don't have to do them because you can get way more stock bills everywhere else. So they're just there as supplemental little chore things that you can do. Now, nobody does them because nobody needs to, and that's a good thing. The trial of Swordmancy is going to be the exact same. After we get the ore bells from the accompanying event, it's going to become another stock bill chore, and it just happens to be combat related. Now, another week after that, contingency contract is going to be fun for 2 good weeks. Maybe content creators like me can squeeze out another week of trying out cool team comps and fun challenges, But what about what comes after? Contingency Contract is an insanely limited mode, and while I do think they're going to make it way more available in Endfield than they do in Arknights, it's still going to be once every 2 to 3 patches at most, because they need time to set up new enemies and they need time to set up new risk and new mechanics. So while it is going to be insanely fun, and I'm definitely making a ton of content from it, why would anybody care if there's no follow-up in future patches? Why are we playing a daily simulator game that drip feeds us content by only giving us something meaningful once every month? Now we're also getting another Umbral Monument set with 6 stages, and I like Umbral Monument and look forward to it every patch, so I have genuinely no issue with this like I do Contingency Contract. For me to not have an issue with Contingency Contract, they're gonna have to give us something every patch as well, but that's just not possible with this mode, so we need another mode like Umbral Monument that has content every single patch. Look, this is the same issue that has been discussed before. Everyone in the 1.2 crash out I had told me, oh my god, I'm thankful this game doesn't have too much content, I have a full-time job, I can't play Endfield for too long every day, and they also told me to just play other gacha games, you're not meant to play just one. Both of these non-arguments are completely missing the point, because I'm not asking for everyone to have 3 hours of gameplay to do every day or else they're missing out. I am asking for all of the waiting we are doing and all the daily farming we are having to go through to be rewarded, and rewarded much faster than it is right now, because we are playing a big 3D gacha game that has a budget in the tens to hundreds of millions. I don't want to play other gacha games while waiting for the gacha game that I call my favorite of all time to give me content. If I wanted to play something for 3 hours a day, I would genuinely go play Honkai Star Rail instead or Wuthering Waves, which I started doing by the way, and that doesn't mean I'm any more satisfied with Arknights Endfield. And you know what? If I did make the major gacha game video I was going to make, I would recommend both Honkai Star Rail and Wuthering Waves over Arknights Endfield. HSR and WoWA give players meaningful content to wait for every single patch, and the same goes with Genshin and ZZZ by the way. Every 1 week and every 2 weeks there is something properly hard to farm towards. Now rotating endgame content is most definitely not the pinnacle of endgame content because it has countless issues, but it is insanely good at retaining players, and that is not something Arknights Endfield is good at, because while I said Endfield 1.2 didn't bleed too many players, it definitely bled enough, and it bled the players that actually care about the game online. Just like way back in the day when Genshin Impact announced that they didn't care about endgame content, despite adding endgame content way after. It bled the online community the game had that truly cared about grinding, and while it didn't lose money or lose its massive player base, it lost a huge number of players that truly loved the game, and they instead went to play other games, and some of them started being tribalistic. And that is exactly what is happening to Endfield right now. Again, I don't want to play a daily simulator game where once every month we get a good fun mode or a bunch of factory stuff. At this point, I must have used the please sir, I need some more MP4 file around 100 times in the past month or two, because that's exactly what I want. I need more. So far, every patch in this game has been an improvement, and 1.3 is the same. Every patch is much better than the last, but every patch has its own issues. Why aren't we getting a main story quest in 1.3? And why aren't we getting a new factory outpost? Especially after the test area left us with absolutely nothing. Now, I'm not very optimistic about 1.4 either. I know it's going to have an insane story quest. I have no doubt about it being so much better than even 1.2. I have no doubt about the factory being insanely fun. I have no doubt that we will get another Umbral Monument set, but what else? We are 100% not getting a contingency contract iteration. We are not getting a new factory mode. We might get another one of the modes they teased, and that's great, but they have to properly communicate with us at least, and not through IGN. For the last EOS Forsaken time, I hope Endfield cooks for 1.4, because I don't want to wait anymore. Most of the gameplay for this game is literally just waiting and doing dailies, and that has killed so much of the hype and buzz around this game. No glory to Hypergriff today. So thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more monumental crashouts in the future, and join the Express Rain Discord server for a fun and lovely community to hang out with. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.